Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of the F1 2019 career mode. How are we going, guys? It's James and Matt.
Hey, how we doing there, everyone?
Bahrain qualifying is nearly upon us and the drivers look as if they're all geared up to go. I expect we'll be getting underway very shortly.
Okay, so we're in qualifying 1. We're going to see how we go here. See if we can beat our teammate. We're actually running low downforce because we had an engine upgrade failure. So yeah, low downforce, and we're going to try and make up for that.
So you're compensating for less power or what you'd expect, and you're just making it harder for yourself to drive, basically.
Pretty much. So less horsepower, more work.
All right. Oh, yeah, you're used to this. I guess at McLaren, you don't have the resources available like the bigger teams at the minute, so something to deal with for this season, probably.
Exactly right. Well, look, especially at Bahrain, it's a high-speed circuit, so we can't be dragging the car down with too much downforce.
Yep, it's reasonable.
So here we are then. We're in the first lap of qualifying 1. Just a banker, but we need to be quick because it's a competitive midfield this year.
Okay, so we'll see how he goes. He comes to cross the line here. Oh, actually, no, we are going through the S's here. He's looking pretty smooth, so you don't seem to be noticing the lack of downforce too much. You ran a bit wide there, but that's okay.
Yeah, not too bad. As I said, you just got to lean the car through the corners here. You got to start the corner from a long way away, open up the corner, and brake nice and gently.
You've done well there not to lock up going into that corner. It's very difficult around here.
Yeah, it is tough. You just got to keep the car rolling. That's the main thing around here. Once you lock up, that's it.
Righto.
So we're here just going into sector 3. This is a hard one here. You've got to brake late, turn in late as well.
You've got to make sure this exit is really good. Don't take too much curve, otherwise you could end up losing the rear end as you're trying to put the power down as soon as possible to race up to the line and get that banker time in there for you.
That's right. So what's that? A 130.05. So that put us into 14th place after Q1. So we nearly got knocked out there, and science had the better of us.
Yeah, but not by much. That's the thing. It seemed to be very tight between you and the other cars around you, including your teammate. So I guess you just have to make sure that for Q2 here, you're putting in as solid a lap as possible to see you through to Q3.
That's exactly right. So on this run, we've already done 1 lap. So we're in 7th place, but that's not safe enough in Q2. You need to be a bit lower than that to make sure that you'll get into Q3.
It does look like this lap is coming together nicely, though, just looking at that delta there.
Yeah, the delta is sitting at minus 0.3 right now, so that's a pretty good improvement on our first lap there. Just got to have a good third sector.
Yeah, I think if you can polish this lap up nicely without too many issues, then I reckon, 3.5 tenths, 3 tenths up, that should see you through to Q3 surely.
Well, there's a good exit, and what do we have there? A 129.65, so that's going to get it done, hopefully. So we're still in P7, but we've improved our time.
Yeah.
So what's that? Ooh. Just 1/10 behind Science in 9th place there. Science in 8th.
Seems like you're getting the maximum out of the car between you and Carlos, which is good. I guess now it's just throw everything into these last laps in Q3 and just see where you end up.
Exactly right. So we have the full lap here on Q3. Keeping in mind that we only have 1 chance because we have to use these tyres in the race. So I'm only going to go out once. So I'll have to send it first go.
So far it seems quite smooth, seems okay. Don't seem to have any issues there. Yeah, you've taken that one pretty nicely. You've got to set yourself up for the S's really good here. You've got to turn in just a bit earlier than what you'd expect and flick it right back around the left-hand side and set yourself up for this nasty little hairpin here. You've done well, no lockups.
Exactly right. You just got to open the car up as the rear end protests against me there, putting the power down, and just clip that curb on the inside. You can take a bit of that curb, open up DRS, and we're going to just get ready for the 3rd sector now.
So far so good. I mean, the lap seems pretty decent here. Don't have much to compare to because obviously this is just your 1 hot lap you're going for, but you're very nice and smooth. There was a bit of snap earlier in the lap, but apart from that, you've been in control.
What we can compare to is Lewis Hamilton's time up until sector 3. We're half a second down on him, so that's not too bad.
Definitely with the different machinery. You ran a bit wide going into that penultimate corner here, but Anyway, we see this. Yeah, that's a decent exit. You got to straighten that up as soon as possible, and it is an absolute dash to the line. We're looking at the times here, and what do we get? A 1:29.1, which currently puts you ahead of Carlos. This is good.
7th place.
It's probably the maximum you could get out of the car.
It's time to
Yep.
remind ourselves.
Oh, and you have to have been. Look at that. You stomped Carlos there by a solid 3/10.
3/10, yeah, so I was happy with that because throughout practice and Q1 and Q2 I was behind Science, so I pipped him where it counted.
Yeah, absolutely. It puts you in front of him on the grid. You've got to be happy about that. Helps with the rivalry challenge, obviously, showing that the new boy is here to stay and here to pick a fight with his teammate.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
Thank you, Jeff.
The curtain rises once more then on the desert stage of Sakir as the players take their places for the opening act. Will they enthrall us like they did in 2014 with that titanic battle between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? Well, we'll find out shortly as we get underway here in Bahrain. We'll be racing around 3.36
It's a lovely track, isn't it, Matt?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Bahrain. It always promotes very good racing. Originally very skeptical when it first got announced on the calendar. Oh, just going to an oil-rich nation. But no, there's actually a lot of work that needs to be done navigating this circuit. And under the lights, it actually looks spectacular.
How our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Albon, James, Sainz, Perez and Pierre Gasly, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Kevin Magnussen and Ricciardo, Kvyat, Grosjean, Lance Stroll and Antonio Giovinazzi. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
What I did realise is that it's a Mercedes front row followed by Ferrari and then Red Bull. So it's pretty clear where the teams are at on qualifying pace.
You could even say the same for McLaren, as you got 7-8 with McLaren. But we're about to go here. The lights are about to go off. And let's see how Jim gets on here in Bahrain.
29 laps then at Sakir, Bahrain. Let's go. We've got a pretty good start there. We're surrounded left and right by our competitors.
Taking a very cautious entry into turn 1, which is probably the wisest decision. Otherwise, he would have ended up with some damage. You have lost a couple of places. Oh, but it looks like you're going to take a couple of them back right behind Perez now. You're going to duck in behind and try and grab as much of that draft as possible as you head in to the next corner here. You've got to be careful to not lose the rear end as you go through. And Perez has been very opportunistic here. We've only lost one place, though.
Here we go, a replay then. This is Verstappen, and he gets his front wing end plate on the right side chipped by Albon. And then he has a terrible exit out of that corner, and that has let Perez and myself through on the left side. So,
Christian Horner not happy with that one.
A lot happening in turn 1, you could say.
Yeah, but surprisingly, no retirements yet, no terminal damage, and we can see you here, Jim. You are stalking Sergio Perez at the minute here.
We're in 8th place then, so we're actually down 1 spot, aren't we?
Yes, down 1 spot on lap 1, but that's okay. When you consider the chaos that was ensuing around you going into turn 1, I think the caution was the way to go as opposed to being overzealous.
As they say, you can't win a race in turn 1, but you can lose it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We get a nice clean exit there, despite running wide. It's a forgiving circuit in that way. There's no grass on the outside. You can dip a tyre out.
Yeah. Meanwhile, going into turn 1 on lap 2 here, a bit cautious again, but that's because you've got 3 cars jostling in front of you, and you can get the better exit here if you're not mucking around, and this can lead you up.
Oh, a replay here from just behind us. Is that Science there?
That looks like Carlos.
Making a move on Max Verstappen behind us. Verstappen's just gone backwards.
Yeah, well, that damage must be affecting him a lot more than what Red Bull anticipated. Christian Horner's not going to be happy with that little incident to his star man.
Back live then. Still in 8th place, still lap 2. We have Perez in front, and I think that's Albon in front of him. And who's that Toro Rosso? Is that Gasly?
Oh, I'd have to have if I was guessing, I'd be a gambling man, I'd say that was Gasly, and he seems to be doing alright so far, holding his own against the driver who took his seat at Red Bull.
The Toro Rosso there, proving its worth. I think that the Red Bull's race pace is slightly behind the qualifying pace, it looks like.
Well, potentially, I mean, you know, they've been bragging about how good their Honda engine is, but so far they seem to be lacking, and maybe it's just in the aero package.
Who's that? Sorry to interrupt you, Matthew. Is that Perez having a go on Albon? Right in front of us, the best seat in the house. I'll bring the popcorn.
No, he just sent that down the inside and just took that. Which
Oh, we got
brilliant.
signs behind us. I'm sorry again, mate. There's just so much going on.
It's a bit chaotic here. Carlos, what's he going to do? Is he going to dive bomb down the inside? Oh, no, he's being cautious here, just tucking in behind you guys.
And we're all line astern, then just biding his time, looking for the exit.
He will get DRS though. DRS has been activated on this lap.
Oh, first to blink then. I'm out of breath. That's been a very busy first 3 laps. Hopefully there's more of this to come. Sector 3 then, lap 3. Just trying to keep it tidy because we need to look after the tyres in this Grand Prix because I'm aiming to do a one-stop pit stop race on this occasion because it's a bit of an awkward one. It's a long lap here. So it's halfway between a one-stop and a two-stop, but we're going to try and make the one-stop work. So I'm looking after the tyres all the while fighting my opponents.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, you are tucking in behind Alex Albon. He's got DRS, you've got DRS, and you've moved over to the right-hand side, which means you can take the inside for this turn 1. And we're going to see how he goes. There was a yellow flag for a brief second there. Is that eventuating to something? We'll have to wait and see. But beautiful move there on Albon.
And Sainz as well has taken him too. He's just tucking in behind, having scraps. Is that Valtteri Bottas?
Bottas. Oh no, don't tell me that yellow flag is relating to him. He was in second place.
Jeez, there's some points up for grabs now. Here's a replay then. This is
Wow.
Sainz. He sent it on that one.
That was a bit ballsy. That was a bit dangerous there, but he made the move stick.
He ain't letting me go anywhere, is he?
No, maybe was the strategy for you boys to just tuck in behind and just go through the field together as teammates, the old shake and bake almost.
The old peloton, if you will, if it was cycling.
Absolutely. That is a very good analogy there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm loving this commentary thing, actually.
Oh, it's all good fun. But anyway, we're going to have a look at this replay here.
Here we go, replay. So the 2 Red Bulls then.
So Max Verstappen, what's he doing here? Going into the last corner. He was having a look, deciding to just keep him in the mirrors of Alex Albon. But it looks like he'll get a very good drive on the straight here. And I'm sure, knowing Max Verstappen, he's going to go for a move. He does not hesitate. That man is possessed when he drives. So he moves over to the right-hand side. Both cars got DRS, but it looks like he's going to outbrake in here and take that corner very well. Clips the curb, straightens the car, but Albon's coming back on the inside. You can do the old switcheroo here at Bahrain. They'll get DRS again, and it'll be interesting to see if Max Verstappen can make this stick.
Oh, is that Raikkonen having a dip as well? Doesn't
Kimi
fancy
Raikkonen
some of the
in
action.
mix. Oh no. 3 abreast, they somehow come through unscathed. Kimi Raikkonen hunting down Alex Albon. Let's see how he goes through the S's here.
On board now. He takes the outside lane, and that will turn into the inside lane if he can hold it.
Oh.
And he'll squeeze him out and take the apex. That is beautiful driving from the veteran.
That is just wise old driving from Kimi Raikkonen there. But we're back with you now.
Back on board in the McLaren. Still, we're in 6th place. We've done well. That's a good start.
It is a very good start. However, I've noticed that Sergio Perez, he hasn't gotten away from you here, but he has created this nice little gap, this breathing space. And it seems that maybe the Renault engine, just can't deliver the goods when up against that Pink Panther with that Mercedes power.
Well, you know, as we said before, we have to look after the tyres and make that 2-stop work for us.
We advise moving to mix 2.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, replay here, we got Danny Rick. Who's he going down the inside of
Is that
here?
Albon?
That looks like Alex Albon from that helmet there. But that Renault doing a very nice job, and he has just braked late and tucked it in. Now, has he closed off Albon for the inside of the second corner? Yes, he has. He's made that stick.
He left him some room. Beautiful move there, Ricardo.
Goes to show he's still a very good overtaker, despite the machinery he's working with.
He's still got it. But I'll tell you what, those Red Bulls are just ruining each other's Grand Prix.
Oh, it just reminds me of Baku in 2018, the constant jostling and battling, and what do you know, they both end up smacking into each other.
Okay, so we're just getting radio there. Our tyres are starting to go here. And whoop, we lose the back end a bit there. So we're aiming to pit stop at lap 9.
Okay, were you expecting the tyre wear to come off as early as lap 6?
It's coming off a bit, but not too much yet.
Meanwhile, we've got... Is that Verstappen?
I can't tell. It is.
It is Max Verstappen, and he's just gone down the inside of Carlos Sainz. He's going to squeeze him out, and he's going to maintain that position. But Carlos will come back with the DRS. Max Verstappen has DRS on you. Kimi Raikkonen behind has DRS on Carlos Sainz. I'm a bit worried about how many cars are going to go into turn 1 here. Raikkonen to the outside. Is he going to make this stick? A bit cautious, because he's got Verstappen in front of him. Goes to the inside. Bit of argy-bargy, bit of bumping. Kimi Raikkonen, wise heads always prevail.
Wow.
Takes the place
Sainz
there.
just lost 2 positions in the space of 500 meters or so.
Well, he will be a little bit upset with that one, and throws the strategy into jeopardy now as well.
And this is helping me all along because I'm trying to save tyres while there's guys behind me fight each other. This is working beautifully.
Absolutely, it means you can just hold off for a bit longer. You're lap 7 now. Hopefully we get to that pit window on lap 9 without too many dramas. All the while, Sergio Perez hasn't entirely gotten away from you, considering that you're holding out here to keep those tyres alive.
Exactly right. So all I'm doing with my ERS is just putting it to high on the straights, which is mainly sector 3, and then putting it on low for sector 1 and 2.
Yeah, a lot of touching and a lot of nibbing and knobbing there with those buttons. You're really having to manage this race, and I'm sure that's to make sure you get the best possible result.
What's this then? We have Lewis Hamilton, our leader, all on his own in first place.
Must be enjoying himself. Bono's probably telling him to just keep his head down. Meanwhile, you've got Sebastian Vettel behind Charles Leclerc. A bit of a battle between the 2 Ferrari drivers. He'll get DRS on Leclerc. He'll probably move over to the inside. Yes, that's exactly what he's done. And look at that speed differential with just the opening of the flap at the rear wing. Brakes normally, takes the line as easy as you like.
Pretty pedestrian stuff there.
Expected. This is why some people do complain about DRS, but nonetheless it's here to stay for the time being.
Okay then, so we just got the radio call to come in this lap number 8. So we're going to try and do a good in lap here.
I guess at this point there's no more worrying about keeping the tyres okay, because they're about to go off, so you can throw everything you want into this in lap.
Yes, and in the meantime, Sainz has actually clawed his way back to 7th place right behind us, so that has a lot of reason, it has a lot to do with why I haven't been, or as the tyres go, that is why I'm not defending, because they're fighting each other behind me. It's great.
Well, it's made your race just a little bit easier in this first stint, and I get the feeling that if you can manage this first stint alright, then you should be okay for the rest of the race. Meanwhile, we have many players in the background, and once again it is Kimi Raikkonen down the inside. That is not normally an overtaking opportunity.
Side by side here into the S's on old tyres. This is dangerous territory.
Look at that. Beautiful driving from the 2 of them. I think Carlos will just edge this out as he gets the inside on the penultimate corner. Yes, squeeze him out of road. Raikkonen's got the runoff to use, and they're going to come down to the last corner side by side. Looks like that Ferrari power unit is going to get that Alfa Romeo through, and Kimi Raikkonen takes the corner like no one's business.
And I would chalk that down to our failed engine upgrade.
Well, it affects Carlos just as much as it affects you.
Cost us dearly there. As we slide into the pits, we attack the line this week. I practiced that a lot in practice, as you meant to do.
Well, this is the benefit of doing those manual pit entries. We'll see how the boys get on with the pit stop. It looks pretty good.
2.4 seconds there.
2.4 seconds. That is a very respectable pit time.
That is tidy work there.
The boys have been practicing, it seems. Seems like McLaren
2.2.
really got the thing. 2.2 seconds. There we go.
Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Onto the hard tyres. You really are going for the one-stop strategy here, aren't you?
Yep, it's lap 9. We need to make these tyres work for 20 laps. Can we do it?
Well, I tell you what, that reminds me of Sebastian Vettel back in 2018, I believe. He said these tyres are dead. Anyway, replay here. We got Carlos Sainz and Kimi Raikkonen.
No, this is live actually. We're just getting an update. Sorry, mate. On
Apologies.
Sainz. He's in sector 3, so we're trying to undercut him. Well, not really undercut, but just prevent the undercut.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, he's going for the overcut. You're trying to make sure that you stay in front of him by the time he comes out of the pits. He's got Raikkonen to deal with here. Is he going to go for a move? Probably not, considering he's going into the pits momentarily.
Well, we don't know this, but it should be part of the strategy, surely. Bring him in after me.
Yeah, this is expected. Who got the preferred pit strategy? Was it yourself or was it Carlos, or do you not know?
I'm not sure actually, so we'll see what tyres he goes on here. What's he got? Going softs again.
Another set of softs. Well, clearly he's going for the two-stop. McLaren have split their strategies between the two drivers to see who's going to get the upper hand. We've got James coming down the main straight. Carlos is still in the pit lane, and it'll be very interesting to see who gets ahead here. Going into turn 1.
Gee, they're close.
Very close, almost side by side. James goes wide in order to take him, and he's got the inside for corner 2, and he has nailed that. James, this is Zach. We need you to let Carlos by. He's on a different strategy. He's on the soft tire. You're on the hard, so we need you to let him by the end of this lap. Confirm this message.
Okay, sure. Confirm. Wow, that is team radio. He'll have to let him through.
Wow. How do you feel when you get the message from the boss that you got to move over for your closest competitor really being your teammate?
Well, as a competitor, I hate it. But I do understand I'm on the slow tyre compared to him, and I'm not really racing him right now, you know. It's mano a mano, and I think, yep, there we go. We let him through. Get on with it, Science. But we're going to try and take some DRS off him.
6 seconds.
Yeah, that's a reasonable idea, and that's probably the best outcome for both drivers. And you don't really want to jeopardize Carlos. You know, you've got a Constructors' Championship to worry about as well here.
Exactly right, and he's a good bloke. I want to keep things nice and friendly in the locker room, you know. I mean, it's more about results, but yeah.
Meanwhile, we're on board with Max Verstappen. He's going down the inside of a Toro Rosso. Was that Pierre Gasly?
I think it was, mate. Gasly's absolutely flying today. I don't know how he's doing it in the Toro Rosso, but he's doing it.
It's reminiscent of his performance back in 2018 when he ended up in P4. What a stunning drive by Gasly. He just seems to know Bahrain.
You've been doing your homework, haven't you, mate?
Well, I don't know if it's homework or if it's just useless facts of Formula 1 that I keep in tow, but it's there.
And we get DRS once more, so it's working out for us. We're actually improving our lap times on the back of Science here, so this is great, and we're saving tyres as well.
It seems the strategy is paying off for McLaren. It'll be interesting to see how far forward you can cut through this field, as you are currently P17 right now, but you'll wait for those other pit stops to occur and see where you end up.
Exactly right. Look, the car's working beautifully. You know, there's no damage. Last week I had to deal with a broken front wing for half the race. Today, not the case.
And you're not going hammer and tongs with your teammate, which must be a sigh of relief to those on the pit wall.
Well, you know, we got the voicemail from Zach Brown last week, and, you know, we can't just disobey.
Got to toe that line between playing the team game. So here we go. We've got Carlos here. And
his sign's slowing.
Oh, no. Oh, and he's pulling over to the side as well.
What's wrong? He's had an issue.
Oh, no. Engine off. Oh, and we have a full-blown safety car. Not virtual safety car. We have full safety car. Carlos has just pulled over. The car is done. I wonder if that was an engine issue or maybe an MG UK. We're not sure. But in the meantime, you've got to stick to this Delta as the safety car is going to come around the track. And this plays well for your strategy, if I believe.
Yeah, well, I can look after the tyres while I'm behind the safety car. I can turn the engine down, I can turn the RS down, I can harvest, and there's a bit of a pit stop flurry here.
Absolutely. We just saw one of the Red Bulls get held up by the Renault there as they're all coming in. So free pit stops for everyone. Unfortunately, not a free pit stop for you. So,
yeah, so
actually,
we lose out there.
Yeah, actually, now that we look back on that, it seems that Carlos has not done you any favours.
And that's Raikkonen then. He's ahead of us now as a result of those pit stops. So, yes, it's working out. Probably 6 out of 10 for me, I reckon.
6 out of 10, not bad. But we're all lining up. We're all behind the safety car. We're just waiting for that puppy to go in so that we can get back to racing. And it'll be very interesting to see what the result of Carlos's car problems were.
And the Red Bulls have lost out massively.
It just has not been their night, has it? They started off below, behind the 8 ball, as it were.
Looks like we're ready to go back racing.
Really got to try and judge this launch as best as you can. The power's on, the cars are coming down, and you're going to get the draft. No DRS, but it seems you won't need it. You have to watch out and see who's behind you there. That's Lance Stroll. Interesting to see what happens. Going to the outside.
Raikkonen goes defensive.
Holds that line well, does Kimi.
And he parks it in the middle of the road. There's no way around there. He knows how to defend the old flying fin.
He knows exactly what he was doing there, and he's going to make your life a little bit difficult to overtake him in these early stages of this restart.
And what's this then? That is Vettel getting up the inside of Hamilton. He's had a terrible restart, Hamilton.
That is a very opportunistic move by Vettel, but Hamilton's not giving up, and he's just squeezed him there. No room for Vettel to get through. We'll have to try again later.
So we have to be careful then that we don't get carried away and burn out the tyres just because there's cars in front of us. We need to stay cool.
Let's turn up the heat.
You got to keep to the strategy, especially now that other cars have received a free pit stop here.
Rumble with Perez.
Oh, just dives down the inside, and he's taken Sebastian Vettel. Gave him no room.
Hamilton has just pushed him off the circuit. Vettel will be furious under the helmet there.
Oh, there will be some messages there, either in Italian or in German, not so sure. We haven't got the live feed on his team radio. Meanwhile, back to you.
Well, look, all the while, we're just going to be looking after tyres. I say it over and over again, but you must manage those tyres all race long and just let the boys around you fight.
Well, it's very much a case of keep your head.
Raikkonen ahead, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 2 laps old. The time last lap was a 2:21.0.
So Raikkonen then, he's got slightly fresher tyres than us because we pit stopped before the safety car and he pitted during the safety car, so that's not great for us. And the engine's overheating because I've got it on Rich and I'm right behind him, so I need to watch that.
Meanwhile, Sebastian Vettel, lock up from Perez. Sebastian Vettel goes down the inside, but Perez gets the inside line for corner 2. He takes that position there. He takes it back, but Sebastian Vettel is going to be hunting him down and on the rear of that gearbox going into turn 4.
So is Raikkonen. They're all in there.
And let's not forget that you're a part of this party as well.
Look, I'm just here to pick up the rat scraps. But I just want to say that Racing Point and Alfa Romeo, well, Raikkonen actually, but Racing Point and Raikkonen, they're having a great start to the season. They're right up there.
They really are. They're really challenging for those midfield positions. And it seems Renault doesn't appear to be anywhere in this midfield scrap, which must be very disappointing for the shareholders and for Cyril Abitbol, whose job could be on the line.
And Ricciardo, who could have been up top this year.
Well, I guess that's what you get when you sign a very lucrative deal without all the information presented in front of you.
Or false information, false promises. As we have, is that Raikkonen trying to go up the inside of the Ferrari there?
Yes, it is.
Geez, they're 3 wide. You wouldn't usually put 3 cars through there.
Oh, wow. It's going to be crazy to see what happens as they come out through these S's. Oh, meanwhile, you've got Lance Stroll nipping at your heels.
Just having a look at my side pod, why don't you? It's all good, mate. I don't need you to look at that.
Oh, it was hard, but it was fair racing. You didn't actually come into contact, so good driving from Lance Stroll, good driving by you to not come together, as you got these 3 cars in front of you going into this very tight left-hander. It'll be interesting to see who comes out in front as the DRS is applied, and we're going around to the last corner.
Lap 17 then. It's been a good race so far, as we have a run on Raikkonen here. We're pretty close. Our engine's running pretty hot though. We have the run, we'll have DRS. Let's see what we can do.
It seems Raikkonen will have DRS as well. Yes, he does, but so do you. You're going to stay in nice and tight. You're going to get him behind. Meanwhile, Sebastian Vettel going down the inside of Sergio Perez into the first corner, and yet he's taken that very nicely. Hog that inside line, hog the apex, and make sure that there's no one coming back at you on the inside of turn 2. He's done very well, Vettel has.
That's some routine overtaking there for the German, the 4-time world champion.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be as easy as he would like it to be, because that Pink Panther and Kimi Raikkonen, his former teammate, they are nipping at his gearbox and they are staying along here.
What's this then? A bit further down the field. That's Verstappen fighting his way through the field with a Williams. Can you believe that? I'm saying that. Back live then. In 6th place still. Looking at Raikkonen. Just trying to pick our moment when we go for him.
Ideally, you want to be going for Raikkonen just as he's coming into trouble trying to overtake that racing point there of Sergio Perez. That's probably the opportunistic way to go about it.
That's right. As we duck out of his draft there to cool the engine down. But we missed the apex as a result, which is not ideal, but the engine is at 118 degrees and it's back to green, so yep, on board with Hamilton then, in 2nd place.
Hunting down Sebastian Vettel, it seems. He's got to be careful here, but it'll be very interesting for the title fight if Sebastian Vettel can pull this win off for Ferrari.
So then, is that Leclerc?
Oh, my mistake. That is Charlie Leclerc.
Leclerc to Hamilton to Vettel to Perez to Raikkonen and then to myself.
That is the top 6 as it stands.
Yep.
Hamilton is hunting down Charles Leclerc. Hopefully Charles Leclerc in this outing at Bahrain won't have an engine problem or reduced power and can try and hold off the reigning world champion.
It's not good though how Valtteri Bottas had an engine failure, right, in round 2 of the season. You're only allowed 6 engines per season, I think.
I thought it was only 3.
I think you're right. I was guessing just then.
Regardless though, we see Hamilton going into the pits here, so he's relented on his attack on Charles Leclerc. Is that his first pit stop or is that his second pit
I
stop?
think this is his first pit stop. He hasn't pitted. He's gone for the 1 stop as well onto the hard tyre on lap 20.
Now, surely there's a bit of miscommunication there. Hard tyres, 9 laps, you're not going to get the job done, or at least with the pace you want. Anyway, back to you. Notice a bit of brakes heating up, so you're going to have to manage your brakes as well as your engine temperature.
At this point, though, in my career, my team want me to come 10th or better, so I'm coming 5th at the moment. I'm feeling pretty good. I don't have to stop again, and who knows what might happen around us.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, you've got Sergio Perez, opportunistic as ever, potentially picking up another podium for Force India / Racing Point here. He just seems to get the car in advantageous positions when other people have misfortune.
He's having a hell of a season, Perez. Hell of a season.
His teammate Lance Stroll isn't doing too bad either. He's been on the back of you for quite a while. He's hanging in tight with this top 6 fight here.
Be aware we expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
Checking in with the midfield then.
Well, everyone's nice and bunched up. That safety car has definitely done its wonders there. We've got a Renault there and a Toro Rosso, followed by another Alfa and one of the Red Bulls.
Looks to me like it's Verstappen.
Verstappen all the way down the field. It's amazing to see what has happened to Red Bull in this race. It really isn't their night. And Adrian Newey back to the drawing board, it seems.
Well, they qualified 5th and 6th, and now they're both out of the points. This is a disaster. This is embarrassing for Christian Horner.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's something wrong with that car when it's fueled up in comparison to the qualifying pace.
The car behind is dropping back. We're seeing a gap.
And we're starting to pull away from Lance Stroll then. So that's going to release some of the pressure off myself, and now I can really mount an attack on Raikkonen.
There we go, you've got DRS going into turn 4 here. We'll see how we go. Turns in, hits the apex very nicely. Seems like you get a very good drive out of that. Nice and smooth and stable as you're going in towards the S's here. Raikkonen's got turbulent air, you've got turbulent air. It looks like you've picked up the gap a little bit here as we go into this next right-hander.
It's all about not getting too greedy here and just leaning the car into the corners, not snatching a brake. Like this corner here, turn 10, one of the most challenging corners on the calendar. Very easy to lock up a front left there.
Absolutely, you've got the banking, you've got the braking, not in a straight line. You're slowing all the way down. You're asking a lot of the car to get it around there.
It's all about having a good sector 3 here to make sure we're in DRS zone on the pit straight.
Yeah, it seems so far you've managed to do that quite nicely. It looks like you're a bit closer to Raikkonen than what you have been in previous laps. Very interesting to see what sort of run you get on him here. As Sergio Perez, it looks like he's actually pulled away from Raikkonen. Meanwhile, you're getting an amazing drive here. Are we going down the outside?
No. It's a long race. We're not going to throw it away there. We're going to wait for the DRS.
Oh, caution to the wind almost, but that's okay. You've got a very good drive on Kimi. You got DRS. He does not have DRS. It looks like that you're just going to sail past as you've just sent that postcard. And over to the right-hand side, tuck him back to the left. Make sure you take the inside of turn 1. Done that well.
Run a bit wide there. We've let him back in here.
You have, but you've hogged the inside line of turn 2, so he couldn't just come straight back at you. But Raikkonen will probably have DRS. Here's a replay.
This felt great. You know, we were just behind him, biding our time for about 5-6 laps there. Picked our moment. That felt awesome.
Wonder if Kimi's tyres are starting to go up. Maybe he hasn't managed it as well as he's had to squabble a bit with Sergio Perez and just gave you the opportunity. On board with Raikkonen now as he's following you through the S's. He'll be frustrated at that and he really wants to try and get that. What's that? That's P4 that you're currently running in and he'll want to get that back.
As we run wide there, he'll just want to get himself into DRS zone here. So he'll just want a good exit. As we skip forward to myself,
bit of a snap there from the rear end, but it hasn't hurt you too much. Meanwhile, going into the last corner, you get a pretty decent exit here, but you do have that flying Finn behind you who will likely have DRS chasing you.
Now we can't see him, which is scary because he's only 0.3 behind us. There he is. On board.
Going down the outside of turn 1, he knows exactly what he wants to do, but you've taken that line beautifully there. Great defensive driving, and he's had to relent for now, but he'll prepare for a move down turn 4 surely with that DRS.
That was more of a gentle closing of the door, wasn't it? Just a, no, Kimi, club's full tonight. We're just going to... as we run wide, the pressure is telling.
Oh no, it seems that the tyres might be going off. Kimi Raikkonen, is he going to go down the inside of the S's? No, he hasn't. He's lost out a little bit there, but you opened the door for him. You gave him the opportunity. But again, some good defensive driving as he seemed to go over the curve.
Yeah, we turned in too early there. The pressure is getting to my head. I'm trying to stay cool, but it's not easy.
No. Well, Kimi Raikkonen is snapping at you at the minute. He is just begging for a chance to take you here.
This is a dirty lap from myself. As you can see, I'm a second off my usual time.
A bit rattled. I mean, it gets very hot here in Bahrain. It is a long race. A lot of pressure on these drivers as they're trying to make it. We're going up the hill now to the last sector. Kimi Raikkonen, he's just going to be as smooth as possible here to try and get into that 1 second line so that he can get the DRS going down the straight because it is such a big straight.
I have to get out of the power there because I turned in too early. The pressure is really affecting my driving style right now.
And what is your team engineer saying to you at this point? Surely he's trying to just say, keep your head down, calm it down, you're going to be okay, 5 laps remaining.
Well, there is a bit of that, but at the same time, you can't forget that he's right behind you, you know? Like, it is put your head down, but it's also watch out from behind you, because otherwise you're just in denial, really.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, we've got Max Verstappen going around the outside on the penultimate corner there of the Toro Rosso as he's now hunting down that Renault. Don't know which Renault that is. He'll move over to the inside.
Ricciardo right there.
It is Daniel Ricciardo. And Verstappen would probably say, see you something later, son.
Oh, Ricciardo says, not so fast, buddy boy.
Oh, no. The former teammates and former lovers, potentially, as they've insinuated multiple times, are going down to turn 4. Hammer and Tongs. It is Danny Kvyat. He's just made a move on his former Red Bull alumni. Can he make it stick as they go into the S's? No.
It's a bit awkward there. The old Red Bull car is everyone's ex-girlfriend right now in that trio.
It is one of those situations where you're at the party and there's an ex there and they're with the guy who was your friend, and regardless, it's messy. But
we all know how she moves.
Yeah, that's it. We're clearly talking about the Red Bull seat here. We're not talking about anything
out of the corners.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Oh, we love it here. It's lap 26 out of 29. We're in 4th place.
Seems that pressure, James, that you felt during this race has extended out here, but it's been a Herculean task for you to keep Kimi Raikkonen behind and maintain this 4th place.
As Hamilton is flying, he's not up the front of the pack, so he'll be cutting his way through. I'm not sure where he is, though.
Well, you have to keep an eye out for him. He'll pop in out of nowhere, it seems.
And Raikkonen is still right there, you know, having a look at our rear wing.
Absolutely. Well, everyone thinks that Kimi, you know, just takes Formula 1 as a hobby, but he is a racer through and through. He is a former world champion. You cannot forget this. He's got fire in that belly. He just doesn't like to show it.
And we've looked after our tyres here. They're only 50% worn with 3 laps left, so I've got a bit of room to move here. I can put some energy through them.
Absolutely. Kimi's got tyres of 2 laps younger than yours, so maybe you'll have a bit more juice going into the corners in these last 3 laps.
On the hard tyre though, the difference is not as much for 2 laps. If it was the softs, there'd be a big difference.
Absolutely.
But not for the hards.
Absolutely. No, you're very much right here, but we'll see how we go.
We're trying to break his draft. Yep.
Meanwhile, Kimi is still just going to have a look at that draft. He's clearly got DRS. He's making this move.
Which way he's going to go?
Where's he going? He's going around the outside.
Again. He wants that outside move. Is he going to try and crisscross? But we're saying, nope, we park it on the apex. No crisscross here.
That is... picture the exact same picture as what was happening laps ago. He did the exact same thing there. Great defensive driving. Make sure he can't get that inside line into turn 2.
And don't run wide here, because that is not a good way to keep the flying Finn behind.
Absolutely. Well, since that lap where you seem to be a bit all over the shop, you've managed to calm yourself down and managed to get back into a rhythm, and this rhythm seems to be good enough so far to keep Kimi, although you've gone wide on the apex there, and it'll be interesting if Kimi comes back.
We just haven't got the bite in our tyres right now. They are aging a bit. We've only got 2 laps left, and I'm having to turn in a bit earlier, but I'm not sure when the grip's going to be there, so sometimes I'm coming in too early, and it's costing me on the exit.
Absolutely, but this is the task that is required if you want that 4th place. Kimi Raikkonen right on the edge of that gearbox there. He's not going to make a move now. He's just going to stay behind, just remind you that you're there, show off in the mirrors, and hopefully, for him anyway, make a move on you down the straight. It's been a hard-fought race, hasn't it?
It has too.
Lots of action all over the field. We're about to start the second last lap of this Bahrain Grand Prix, and the question is, will James keep Kimi Raikkonen behind him and take that elusive 4th place from McLaren? The best result it would be for many years.
He's tucked up right behind our nose cone there. He's not going around the outside this time. He wants the exit.
I think he's learned his lesson to not have a go at you into turn 1, and maybe he's just going to size you up for turn 4 here.
Oh, he's in this draft. Which way he's going to go? Around the outside. I go on the inside lane, so that's all he's got to him. That's all he has available to him, I should say.
You've done very well there. The outside line, probably not the best move on Kimi's part. Maybe he's getting a bit desperate. Maybe he's a bit frustrated as you go through the S's for 2 more times in this Bahrain Grand Prix.
And the ERS is on none there. We're really just trying to harvest as much as we can for Sector 3 so we have some defence against the flying Finn and the driver behind him.
Inferior power unit, unfortunately, so you have to compensate for that with whatever tools are available in the car at the minute. As we come around the last corner of the second last lap, we're about to start the final lap, and Kimi Raikkonen will come back at you. Let's see how the defence goes here.
This is your final lap.
We've got 2 cars behind us. Is that Stroll?
That is Lance Stroll. He's trying to go down the outside of Kimi Raikkonen and potentially down the inside of yourself here. He's taken Kimi, and now he's going to tuck in right behind you, and it looks like we've got a final lap free-for-all here for that elusive 4th place. Gets the DRS, activates the button, and now he's going to size himself up and see, is he going to go down the inside? No, he's not. He's going to hold off. Well, he needs to stay with you as much as he can. Meanwhile, behind Raikkonen, we have a Red Bull.
Is that Verstappen?
It looks like Verstappen has come back from the pits of hell.
He's clawed his way back from pretty well last place after the safety car.
Well, he at one point he was fighting with the Williams, and to see him come back just shows the great talent that is Max Verstappen.
Mind you, it might be Albon.
It could be.
Haven't got confirmation.
We never know.
We'll keep an eye out for his helmet.
Yeah, no, we haven't been able to see.
Ooh, it looks a bit like Albon actually.
Could it be Alexander Albon?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the last lap, heading into Sector 3, the most risky place of the circuit in terms of being passed. So we've got the engine on rich mode, ERS on high, because we only need to defend for half the pit straight.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see. It is going to be an absolute free-for-all. It's going to be a race to the line, isn't it? It's just going to be a straight-up drag race at this point, because I don't think Lance Stroll is going to have a dip at you here into this final corner. Can't see him at the minute. Let's see what happens here.
Got it. If we can get a good exit, and we've got one, we've maxed out the engine. That's 4th place, guys.
That is P4. And
that is a PB result. We're happy with that.
And well, McLaren have to be very happy with that. Salvaging a race, considering what happened to Carlos Sainz earlier. But it was right down to the last lap there. It was really on. Meanwhile, Mattia Binotto celebrates with the boys with Ferrari. And look at that, it is Charlie Leclerc who did take the race victory.
How about Perez coming 3rd at Bahrain? That's brilliant stuff, really.
Well, that just goes to show Sergio Perez is a talented driver, and if the opportunity's there, he will take it. But it's a 1-2 for Ferrari. Very impressive.
What a race then. We played the team game, we let Carlos through, and we had good karma.
Well, that's exactly it. You did the right thing there for the team, and you ended up getting a great result for the team. So, starting from P7, ending up in P4, we've got Lance Stroll, who started from P17 on the grid, ending up in P5. What a result.
That's a mighty drive.
Looking at the Drivers' Championship there, and you have leapfrogged one of the Red Bulls. And McLaren currently P5, but that's because of Racing Point's amazing result here, P3 and P5.
Racing Point 3rd in the constructors' standings, in front of Red Bull.
Well, what a start to the season.
It's been 2 fantastic races, and now we're drawing our rivalry with Carlos Sainz there, so things are looking up in our camp.
So far, a great start to the season for yourself.
100% clean lap.
Well, there we go. You kept it nice and tidy.
That's
and
exciting.
well, you've got to be happy with that. Just helps out with the R&D. and the reputation there with McLaren has clearly gone up. And you start to wonder whether McLaren are going to start backing you as opposed
That's a
to
great
Carlos.
result. You did really well.
McLaren love
I don't
that.
think we can have any complaints with our performance.
They seem very happy with that result, barring that problem for Carlos.
Oh, so next week it's China. We hope to see you there, guys, and thanks for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed this one. Please support the channel, please support the videos, and we have a lot more content coming your way.
Thanks, guys. As we we're not done yet. We're at the R&D station, and we're just having a little poke around. Are we going to go for a downforce upgrade? Yeah, we're thinking about it.
I'm not sure yet.
We're hovering.
Well, the initial comments from last time were that you can just drive around the aero.
Are we going to do it? We do it.
Well, there we go.
Oh my god.
Well, it seems it's necessary now.
What's an upgrade, huh?
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
See you guys.